Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu Nishmasi Mimirosi Rusbas Mordechai. Sponsored by Yoeli Elkon, Lilu Nishmas Doiv Pנחס ben Moshe Olevas Shalom, and by Moshe Weiss, Lilu Nishmas Zisel Bas Yosef Oleash. Oh, Shalom. I don't know. Yosef Lewis, a Shidduch for Gila Bat Dalia. Simcha Leib Steinberg on the 39th Yahrzeit of Yitzchok ben Moshe Z'L Neshoma have an Aliyah. And sponsored anonymously by Kalman 5 times in the memory of Menachem Mendel ben Simcha. Dedicated to the, I don't know if I should say that. I really shouldn't say this, because the person that he's saying it about doesn't know that this is a term of endearment. And Am Hore'etz, who wrote the letter to Eli yesterday, as it woke me up from my slumber. You have to be part of the shir to understand. It's just a joke, tzaddik. Over here, Kalman from the 5 Town says that he's willing to buy this guy the second Yoma and the Steinsaltz, so you'll have everything you need to proper learning. Shkrat for the beautiful letter, and may you learning be his chus to bring the coming of Mashiach. All right, Rebellion, so wanted to see you. Can't stop singing. It's geschmack to learn the daf. Since the Shkolim Siyum, please keep the hate mails coming. Yishkoyach. As I promised, Rabbois, I took off 6 hours yesterday and I went to visit my mother's caver. A little bit late, but it happened. And I went to visit my father, spent over 3.5 hours with him. I feel bad. You have to understand, people wrote me letters and this and that. Number one, just to explain myself a little bit. It's not that I didn't see my daughter in the last year. She lived by us throughout the entire COVID. I saw her over Yontif, and she's coming to live by us now for 3 weeks. I said I didn't see her apartment that we helped her buy, although my wife is there 3-4 times a week and designing the kitchen, this and that. And I'm a real estate guy, and I like this stuff. I haven't seen it yet. That's what I said. In terms of my father, what's shot that I wasn't there for so long, it's taka tayana. But however, if you know my father, he kind of appreciates that. He likes sticking to his learning. He knows that every time I come visit him, it's a long shmooze, and he has to do a 7 daf, and then that means that he was up till 4 a.m. last night. So it's a struggle. Like if I go there, this, that, and then the whole COVID thing, he wasn't seeing people. He didn't take the vaccine yet, and he was very, very nervous about COVID, and then I think he got over the COVID shtickle. Now, I asked Yeshua to reach out. I wasn't sure exactly who gave me that wine. All $600 worth of it. So I gave him the name that it said on the box. And it says, yes, I actually delivered wine to him from my cellar. He has a cellar. I know he likes Cristal wine. These are 4 older bottles that I've been keeping for years. Close to 20 years he's been keeping one of the bottles in his own cellar. I want to say thank you for all the efforts he put in over the Chag, preparing and recording all the dapim in a row so we could continue in Eretz Yisrael at the correct pace, not skipping a day. That was brilliant. But I also know it was really tough. He showed unbelievable dedication to the group. I just want to say thank you. Also, he mentioned on Friday that his mother's Yahrzeit. His mom was actually Savitsky. The kids, he knew Reb Mordechai Savitsky. He lived in Boston. He heard the shirim. He's a great goyin. He was a shir in Yiddish. And very good. So I went to visit our good friend, Simon Jacobs, and he took me into a cellar where he pulled out those wines. He actually insisted I take another chashuv bottle of his. He's a great, great Yid. Unbelievable. I spent a lot of time with him, a lot more than I thought I would, because he was just a sweet, like this, Leib Rochav. So it's great to know we have such guys in this year. He lives in Yemin Moshe. I've never been. Just to be in that neighborhood was unbelievable. It's like, you know where it is. It's crazy over there. Beautiful, beautiful place. And everything is art. Rabbi Isai, we have another email from our tzaddik from yesterday. Rebelli, thank you so much. Despite everything, I was watching your share on YouTube. And lo and behold, you read my email. Who would have thought? You read it so well. Thank you so much. Kol tov and carry on b'atzlacha. So I received a few. Akiva Ziegler wrote a whole list of the difference between my share and Rebelli's share, but this one I liked more. This one, I forgot who wrote it. I didn't write. But anyways, this is versus art scroll. He did Eli Stefansky chart, The colorful visual aids, yes. Art scroll, no. Time it takes to learn the daf, 35 minutes on 1.5 speed. With the footnotes, it's 2 hours on the art scroll. Family feel as you learn, yup, Ability to learn as you drive, you bet. Not recommended art scroll. Entertainment value, tons. Emails, audience personalities, jokes, stories, props, etc. Art scroll, entertainment value, not so much. As I talked there. Okay, great. Shkoyach. Last one, because this is very important. This is somebody made a beautiful siyum. Sharing a mazel tov with our MDY family. Rabbi Yanki Berman made a siyum on Masechet Shkolim l'zeich nishmas Mordechai ben Avram Tzvi, the Yahrzeit of our grandfather and great-grandfather. Yanki got me to join the daf, and I'm hooked too. I especially enjoyed the live stream in Borough Park, continuing at Tzlacha, the entire Chabura, and the MDY family. Eli Stefansky Berman. He gave me a Stefansky. He owns the bakery, the famous Strauss Bakery. And here's the siyum. And here is a beautiful cake that he made for his son, because it says like this in the email. I forgot to send this picture. My son Yankee, who made the siyum also had a birthday. And I made him this cake. Yankee listens to you every day at 5:30 a.m. with his headphones. I'm a sifta Gemara, not an article, and a bottle, that's what he wrote, and a bottle of seltzer. It's before davening. So one morning, his 5-year-old son comes to wake him up at 5:15 and whispers in his ear, it's time to learn the Geschmacke Daf. A 5-year-old kid. It's time to learn the Geschmacke Daf and start singing the song. What a way to wake the whole house and singing the Geschmacke song. Yours truly, Eli Berman. Here's a picture of the cake. 8-minute daf, the seltzer, the headphones, and the mesifta. All right. Somebody wrote me an email. I didn't think I would have time, but I see we have a minute. A beautiful email as I was coming here. And he wrote to the person that wrote the email, the Vienna guy. So I want to say, what a beautiful thing it is to be part of MDY in New York. He says the Olam in New York are going to get together on Matzisha Basim to watch the Shir live on a thing and do a Melava Malka every Matzah Shabbos, I think he said, a get together. He says, how do you have that? You don't have that just learning from an art school. This is a chevra, this is a family. What a thing that happened because of our chevra. I think it's a tremendous thing. Getting together, unbelievable. Another chapter in your book. Says the Gemara like this. Huh? We also have, but we don't have food. We don't have food, Gershon. What's going on here? First, I want to take care of the technician that's here Matzah Shabbos. Every Matzah Shabbos is another fadicha. Okay, this week I was on time, and then Alpha begin. Where are we? Hayoim. Shnayim ve'esrim yoim. Shem shlisha shuvois v'yoim echad ba'omer or la'omer. And we are holding on Daf Ches Amud Aleph. Mamish Ula Reb Shimon, 4 lines down. So yesterday we had a machlokes, a little different. It's the same. It's slightly different the chart just for today's daf. But we had the word tamid. Tamid means always. Is it on his forehead always, or it gives a kapara always, even when it's not on his forehead? Shaz, where does this word tamid go? To the right or to the left? Well, Reb Shimon the Omer tamid miratza. Reb Shimon holds it goes as we read it. It always gives a kapara. So what do I do with this word, mitzvah? It says it has to be on the forehead. Where does the tzitz go? It goes on the forehead. According to Rashi, literally on the forehead. According to the Ritva, where we put our tefillin, on top of the forehead. And if he's already using mitzvah, because look, it says over here al metzach, and over here it says al mitzvah. So it's twice. So Melo, I have an extra word that tells us where it goes. Not only that it has to be on his forehead, but that it goes on the forehead. One is referring to the forehead, one is referring that it has to be there all the time. Reb Shimon nami tebuk lei me al mitzvah. So what does Reb Shimon do with the extra one? So what does he do with the second one? So if it's lafuke nishbar hatzitz the loy miratza, if it's broken, it's not miratza. Now, if it's not, what? Let me ask you a question. if it's broken, do I need a special pasach al mitzchay? If a guy takes the tzitz, throws it into the garbage can, it's going to be meratzeh. It breaks it up into 100 pieces, puts it through a grinder. I'd have a havamiyah that's meratzeh. I need a pasuk for that. This the art school doesn't talk about. I looked in the art school. But, no, I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I really loved that email. I really did. Be'emes. I'm not joking. It doesn't come across it.
Yes, we do.
But it's a good kasha that we have to address. And what they say is that if we didn't have both drushes, I would use that one drusha for a broken one. Okay. But it's there. Zok the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, Nishbat Tzitz Manalei. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it says that mitzchay has to be tamid if it's not on his forehead. How does he know this idea that if it's broken? Now, here's another question. Our school doesn't mention this one. Rabbi Yehuda says that it has to be on your forehead. So if the tzitz is broken, it's not on your forehead. A broken tzitz can't be on your forehead. So of course, it's no good. Why do I need a special pasuk for that? So they say we have to explain that it's broken in a way that's like by the loophole. They say it's not mamish broken, but if it's a little broken, that's still a problem. So if you look over here, I just did it. I highlighted it. I put the vav in green. In other words, this word is metzach. It tells us one drasha. But from the extra vav over here, because it could have been like this word, metzach without a vav. From the fact that the Torah adds a vav, I learn another chiddush that a broken, even from the loophole, is still possible. He doesn't go into drushes, into diyukim, into extra letters. He's not going to darish in the vav. This machlokes that we're talking about seems like very similar to this machlokes. So this is a sugi that we had already. That when it comes to the kohen gadol, who performs the avodah on Yom Kippur, and the kohen, not kohen gadol, the kohen who performs the avodah on the parah aduma, both of them have to be sprinkled all 7 days. They're sequestered for 7 days, all 7 days, every day, Sunday, first day, second day, third day, every day. They take the ashes mixed with water of the parah aduma and they sprinkle it on these two kohanim every single day. And it says, Mikol chatoy shayusham. And we explained then, it was kedai to repeat this because it's a big chiddush, that they took from every parah aduma. Again, the parah aduma's ashes should only be, let's say, a teaspoon worth of ashes. A cup worth. How do you get ashes that last for 100 years? So you can add as many trees as you want. And there's so many trees and so many ashes that they were able to take from every parah aduma, there's only 9 of them, and put it right over here in this area right here. So they take from every single, that's one pshat, they take from every single parah aduma that they had in history, and they sprinkle the little ashes from the first parah, from the second parah, from the third parah. Mikol chatoy shayusham. Some say it's Moshe Rabbeinu's parah. Okay. Not true. The pasuk says by mace, by typical sprinkling of a parah aduma, we only do the 3rd day and the 7th day. So over here also, the kohen gadol only gets 3rd day, 7th day, not every single day. You don't do 1st, 2nd, 3rd. It's not 7 spraying, it's 2 on the 3rd and the 7th day. Some sort of a compromise. And the Gemara is going to explain where he came up with this svara. When it comes to the parah aduma, he gets it every single day, all 7 days. Says the Gemara, let's say that this is the same machlokes we just discussed until now. This is going back to the machlokes, is tumah pushed off a little bit, but when we can, we have to be careful. Or it's hutter, it's completely gone, there is no tumah at all. So Remeir holds it's tumah tchuye b'tzibur, and therefore I need to give him a proper. There's a problem here. This tumah, and it's pushed off. It's not a complete heter, so I have to give him a proper tahara. That would also mean, and we're going to go into it, it means on the proper day too. the zman. In other words, if the kohen, I'll pull out my chart that I'm very, very proud of. Worked on it a little bit today. The zman is something special. Look at this. If the kohen touched tumah over here, so 3 days later, the shlishi is on the red over here. And 7 days later is over here. So memela, we want to be on time. We want to make sure that he gets sprinkled exactly when it happened. So he's going to get a sprinkle on the 3rd and a sprinkle on the 7th day to when he became tummy. Why? Because we're very makbid. It's tumah tchuya. He really needs a good tahara. He needs a proper tahara. The Torah said he could get away with it. He could be makravid even though he's tummy. But hey, let's try to give him a tahara. Rabbi Yosef tumah d'chuya yibetzubur. Rabbi Yosef tumah heter yibetzibur. So memela, okay, what? Shlishi and shvi. So the Gemara of Tisbera Isav Rabbi Yosef heter yibetzibur. If it's a heter hazal klal amali. If you're learning from miluim, then it should be every single day, not shlishi shvi. So what's this? 2 days? Ella the kuli alma hanatanoi sarvid tumah d'chuyi b'tzibur. Everybody holds it's dachui. Ememela l'chayra according to your svara, you should need it every day. Mei savar amrinon tefila bizmana mitzvah. Rabbi Yosi savar lo amrinon tefila bizmana mitzvah. We had in Nida a case where a woman has to go to the mikveh 95 times in a row. So you want to do a far-fetched case. So you come on over there, there's a very interesting idea that if you hold tefillah bizman mitzvah, as soon as you're mechuyev to go to the mikveh, you go to the mikveh. So this woman would have to go to the mikveh in the morning and in the evening. She can't say, I'm going to go anyways tonight. No. For the ziva that she has, on the suffix that she has, zava, you go during the day. For the suffix of the yeledes, you go at night. I'm just bringing that case to show this idea that even though a person is for sure going to the mikveh tonight and can get away with the tefillah at night, because tefillah is mana mitzvah, there's a special mitzvah to go as soon as you're able to go to the mikveh, you go right then and there. So, going back to this fancy chart, if, we don't know, but let's say he touched tumah over here, so he would have to be, he has to be sprinkled there. Let's say he touched tumah over here, he would sprinkle over here. Let's say he touched tumah over here, he'd sprinkle over here. And then he'd just go 4 days later again for the 7th. These are the 7th days. These are the 3rd days. The point is that no matter, I don't know what it is. I don't know when he touched tumah, but just in case he touched it on 5, then let's give him a sprinkle here and a sprinkle here. Let's say he touched it on the green. Let's give him a sprinkle on the green and on the green. Why? Because it's a mitzvah to give him a sprinkle whenever 7 days later, 3 days later. That's the mitzvah. Or you hold no, tefillah b'zman la mitzvah. Just go to the mikveh whenever you feel like it. As long as you are tar, you're tar. Who cares? It doesn't have to be the exact minute that you became available to go to the mikveh. That's the second man of Moses. This can't be. You're telling me, look what it says here. No. But we're going to have a mefurish, the Gemara that says, Rabbi says, can. You do say, not loy. That what? Very interesting case. Some guy knew, let's say a guy's playing a prank on him. He's in camp and he knows that he has to go to the mikveh soon. So his friend writes Yudke Vavke on his arm. Now if he goes to the mikveh, he can get erased. So now the friend has to remain tameh until it comes off by itself or something. He goes to the mikveh. So we're talking about a mikveh that has like currents, and the current could remove the Shem Hashem. He can't take a shower, he can't anoint himself with oil because it's going to remove the Shem Hashem. He can't stand in a place with feces or whatever. What happens if he has to go to the mikvah? So he puts some sort of reed on it. Now, it's not like a band-aid. It's very loose. So there's no chatzitza, because if there's chatzitza, it can't be toivel. But it's to the point where the waves are not going to hit it. It protects from waves. Not from, so the water is going to go underneath it. He'll get the proper tefillah, just the wave is not going to knock it off. Now here, Rabbi Yosi Omer, Yored v'toivel kedarko yubavad shelo yishavshiv. No, he doesn't have to worry about the wave, maybe some sort of grama. you go do the tefillah, just make sure you don't rub it off. The whole machlokes is whether it's a mitzvah to go right away. The Tanakama says, I'm concerned. If you're going to tell this guy to go find the reed and start covering things, he might forget and not go to the mikveh, he'll go tomorrow. I want him to go today. Because today is a mitzvah. And you're telling me Rabbi Yossi holds today is not a mitzvah. Can't be. You're right. Everybody holds, Rabbi Yossi obviously holds mefurish that the tefillah b'zman is mitzvah, and so does the other man, Omer, like we said before. So it's a mitzvah to go to the mikvah when it becomes available. So what is the machlokes? Remei sovar makshinon hazah l'tefillah. Rabbi Yossi sovar le'makshinon hazah l'tefillah. Oh, so I forgot to mention, but we're here already. Here's the pasuk. V'hizo haTorah l'tomei b'yoyim hashlishi u'b'yoyim hashvi v'chitoi b'yoyim hashvi. So what's Avi's question? The two reds. We have an extra shvi here. V'chitoi. Why b'yoyim hashvi? You're talking about you're sitting in the seventh day. It says b'yoyim hashlishi and u'b'yoyim hashvi v'chitoi. What's b'yoyim hashvi? That's where you are. So this extra word tells me, according to that man Omer, it's a mitzvah to be toivel that day. To emphasize, go to the mikveh that day. There's also a very important thing in this pasuk, that the beginning of the pasuk says v'hiza, to sprinkle. The end of the pasuk says v'rachatz, to go to the mikveh, tefillah. So this is what we call a hekesh. Not exer shava, a hekesh, because it's in the same pasuk. Since it's in the same pasuk, so these are equal, the hiza and the rechitza. The hazah of the sprinkling and the rechitza of the tefillah. So if I tell you that this shvi tells me that there's a mitzvah to go into the mikveh the day you're available, so there's a mitzvah to sprinkle you the day you're available. Because what's the connection between a kohen gadol in Lishkas Parhedrin that he has to get sprinkled on the third day, the seventh day, because a guy has to go to the mikveh when he's not a zav anymore, or yoledis? What's the connection? Here's the connection. V'hiza v'rochatz. And this exact pasuk tells me that there's a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Meir Sova Makshin Hazol Tefillah. Rabbi Yossi Sova Lo Makshin Hazol Tefillah. Oh. So if Rabbi Yossi holds, very simple question. If Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold to this whole thing, so what's going on here? What is this pasuk telling you? What's the chiddush here? B'yoyim hashlishi b'yoyim hashvi. Chiddush is very good. The pasuk is still telling me, don't separate the third, don't do it on the second and the seventh. You can't have more days. It has to be exactly 3 and 7. That's how you do it. There's a certain way to do it. Reb Chanina's Gana Kayanim. So what about the third shita? The compromise shita. If he holds of this hekesh, there's a connection between sprinkling and tefillah. Well, there's 2 sprinkles. There's a kohen gadol that performs the avodah Yom Kippur, and there's the kohen that performs the paraduma. So both of them should have the exact same halacha. They should either need. He should also need. How could you separate a kohen gadol on Yom Kippur from a paraduma? They're the same. They both need sprinkling. And it says over here, v'hiza, and v'hiza should be like v'rachatz. So either you learn this hekesh or you don't learn the hekesh. How can you split? The kohen that serves that para, going back to the famous terrors in Masechtas Yoma. Not a paraduma, because we were sort of mezalzel in the tumah of paraduma. In order to get away from the tzedukah, and we took a mouse or whatever it was, we were metama the kohen on purpose. So to show people, don't be mezalzel, so I gave it extra chumras and I give him 7 hazahs, not 2. So people say, wow, paraduma is serious stuff. We're trying really hard to make the guy tar. It says, what are the differences? What's the nafkamina? We have a chart. Here on one side you have a paraduma kohen. On the other side we have a kohen gadol that performs the avodah Yom Kippur. What is the difference between the two? You know the differences? Here. There's only one difference. We just turned to Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by Yaakov Badner and Stephen Sokola for Shidduch for Yaakov's daughter, Dina Tamar Bas, Esther Rivka, and for Shidduch, sponsored by the fathers for Sarah Lino Bas Godaleya, and for Shidduch for Shein L'Rochel Bas Avram Tzvi. So, very interesting. The Kohen, he's performing the Avodah Yom Kippur. He has to be serious. He has to get in the mood. Yeah? You ever been to a Chassidish Chasana? They bring the batchen, makes everybody cry. You get into the mood. You have to have a certain mind frame. That's mindset. What mindset? Frame of mind. Mindset. So he's going to the closest Kodesh HaKadoshim, Yom Kippur. So you take him 7 days, no late sonas, no jokes, no WhatsApps, in a room, boom. But it's for Kedusha. It's no Kalas Rosh, says Rashi. It's not about touching, not touching, tahara, not tahara. It's about in the head, not in the body. But the kind that performs the paraduma, the tahara. Why? Because we touched him with a sheretz. Now we have to do the opposite of a sheretz. We have to show how chomer it is. It's chashav. There's no tumah. Get him away from everybody. So there's one afkimina. Kiman or Rabbi Yossi. Either a mayor, either he gets sprinkled 7 days straight, or he gets sprinkled the 3rd and the 7th. But according to a mayor, Rabbi Yossi, there's no difference between a kohen gadol Yom Kippur and paraduma. Whatever the halacha is. If this one is 7, this one is 7. This one is 2, this one is 2. But the Reb Chanina is gonna koyanim. But according to Chanina, is gonna koyanim. The paraduma guy gets 7 sprinkles. The kohen gadol gets only 2 sprinkles. Here's another nafkamina. Put it in the chart. How come it's not in the chart? As Taisves, what about the fact that they live in different places? Here, the kohen for the paraduma lives right over here somewhere. Lishkas Parhedrin. The other one lives over here. I'm sorry, the kohen gadol lives over here. The paraduma lives over here. It's different. Bira, right over here somewhere. So he goes into different Yerutzim. It's very interesting that he says that this Parhedrin, it's too hard this one, I should just go back. Lamed Aleph Beis? No, this is up right here. Shkoyach, how do you know? You looked at it? Lishkas Parhedrin. Okay, over here. Whatever, right over here, and Bira's down here. But this Lishkas Parhedrin, thank you. Now, by the way, everybody's hiding by the mess. That's Yeshua's father-in-law, just in case you didn't know. Shalom Aleichem. Yeshua just ran, I'm serious. He just ran into the kitchen. Lamed Aleph. This right over here. So, you see, what would we do without you? We need you. What would we do the whole year without you? Fine. So, says Taisvus, there's an entrance over here. So we already discussed this, that this doesn't have Kedusha, does have Kedusha, so Taisvus explains it better now. It happens to be, look, it's inside the Azara. So how could he sleep in there? Because it's open to outside. So it has Kedusha, but it doesn't have Kedusha. It's Nishnayi Nishteher. That's one pshat in Taisvus. Whereas the Bira doesn't have the Kedusha. It's different. And then he says, right, so he says we're not going into that. That it has to do more with the kohen and things that have to do with the kohen, not where he's staying. Things like that. But he says in terms of the actual place that he's staying in, that the Parhedron wasn't open. It does have a lot of Kedusha. It doesn't have the choil. But since it's built in choil, it might have been pushed out, but it doesn't have a door to outside, but it's like over here. Like this white, like it's pushed outside of the Azara. So it's built in out, but the opening's to the Kaider, so that's why he's allowed to sleep there. Kitzer, okay, Ayin Sham. Says the Gemara. So it's a kasha of Reb Chanina. How come he's not on the chart? Maskal Reb Yossi, Reb Chanina. Bishlam Rishon, Shemo Shlishi. Sheni, Shemo Shlishi. So for this, you need this Choshevet chart. No, yeah, it's saying that doesn't right fit in with him. Ask the Gemara, look at this chart. Beauty. Look, it's the design. You know what it means to draw these arrows out like this? Not so much. Look at this. It's so beautiful. The red goes to the red. The green goes to the green. The blue goes to the blue. Then that's for the three. Just in case he got Tomei 3 days ago, so he has to go to the red, 3 days from here to the green. Then, just in case he was Tomei 7 days ago, you continue with this. In case he became Tomei here, so 3 days from 5 is 1. 7 days from 5 is 5. That's great. What if he became Tomei over here? 3 days from 6 is 2. 7 days from 6 is 6. And if he became Tomei over here, 7. 3 days from 7 is 3. 7 days from 7 is 7. Guess what? Look at the red, the black. Mr. 4 is all by himself. You don't have to give him any azah. There's no way in the world that he's 3 days away from anything. That's Gemara's kasha. So let me ask you a question. Very basic question. Maybe number 4 days, 7 days away from over here. Why don't we give him hazaf? Because maybe 7 days away from over here. You hear the kasha? It's a beautiful kasha. Rashi asked the kasha. What? No, he might have been Tameh right over here, 7. And this is 7 days later, so give him hazaf, just in case 7. What? Oh.
So the kasha is like, why is he doing the 7?
The Gemara's question right now is that this number 4, there's no need for it at all to give him a sprinkle. Because all the 3 days are right over here, we took care of them. All the 7 days are right over here. This number 4 is for nothing. He's not 3 days after anything. 4 is 3 days after 1. But he wasn't Tommy, he was already in seclusion over here. So he didn't become Tommy. So I'm asking you, but you're right. He didn't become Tommy here, but maybe he became Tommy over here, and he's 7 days away. Oh, the answer is because you can never give a guy the 7th sprinkle. You give him 3 and then 7. You can't just start off at 7. Yeah, it has to go together. So if so, I have a more kasha to ask you. You hear the teretz? You could only give a 3rd and a 7th. You cannot go straight to number 7. So what if the 3rd day falls out on Shabbos? As we're going to learn, the 3rd day is Shabbos. So this red, you can't give him a sprinkle because it's Shabbos. You don't give a sprinkle on Shabbos ever. So how do I give him a sprinkle over here on 5? It's a major kasha. So the Rambam says you don't. You never. If you do not give the first one, this kind doesn't get any sprinkle. Fine. Weiter. I don't see the clock, so we can just keep on going. Oh, now I see. Shkoyach. Thank you. Yeah, we got a little bit out of here. So no, but you see why you need a chart because it's a little confusing the lesson. Rishon shema shlishi, sheni shema shlishi, shlishi shema shlishi, chamishi. Which, by the way, chamishi means the continuation of the shlishi. If 1 is the 3rd day to 5, so 5 is the 7th day to 5. It just continues. It just means that he became tummy either here. There's 3 options. Became tummy in one of these 3 days. Chamishi shema shvi, shishi shema shvi, shvi shema shvi. El revi lamed azal klal. The 4th day of the week, over here, the 4th day of his seclusion, doesn't do anything for me. Why do I give him azal? Leib shlishi ikel l'sapuke, leib shvi ikel l'sapuke. He's not a 3rd day to anything or a 7th day to anything. Utamech, says Gemara, you're right. You actually don't give him azal on the 4th day. It's great to know this. And I'll prove it to you. Utamech, azal, kol shiva mi'ika. You're telling me you have to sprinkle a guy 7 days straight. There's no such thing. You cannot sprinkle anyone on Shabbos. Why? It's the Rabbanon. Why? Because it's a Misakimana. I'm fixing a human being. I'm making him from Tamei to Atar, also on Shabbos. That the Kohen Gadol doesn't get any azaz because he didn't do it on the 3rd day, doesn't get it on the 7th day. When it says 7, it doesn't mean literally 7 in a row. It means you have to exclude Shabbos. You're right. You don't sprinkle on the 4th day of his seclusion because it doesn't serve any purpose at all. You mean for that, for the Misakim Mono? I don't know. Probably, yeah. I think you do. I know we're Tayvel on Shabbos. The guy says the guy was Tayvel on Shabbos. Omer over. So maybe it's not a Maisa on him. I don't know. We have to. It's probably a dumb kasha. It's like ask Yedidia. Like, what, you didn't tell me. Amar Rava Hilkach. You'll hear tonight. By the way, between Mincha Ma'ariv, I didn't hear what happened last night, but I heard the Olam was very, very excited. My Chavrusi, Rebbe Didi Kramer, between Mincha Ma'ariv gives synopsis of the daf, and he did like three and a half daf in like 15 minutes, and the Olam loved it. They said it was great. That was the first time. Second time, I said, what are you going to do? Like, you already ran a daf. He says, I'm just starting from the beginning. And we're going to keep on going from the beginning of Yoma to the end. And I saw him once do the entire Masechta Smakis without opening a Gemara. He went through the entire Masechta in a few minutes. Anyway, Omer Rava. Hilkach Kohen Gadol B'Yom HaKippurim. The Leib did Dina Tamar Milsa. Eli B'Kvili Yahrzeit of Milsa. Right? You saw it also. Masechta Shmooze from beginning to end, when he says he did it. I thought it was Makis. He could do it on Makis for sure. Ela B'Kvili Yahrzeit of Milsa. Now, on Yom Kippur, I can't change anything. So, here's Yom Kippur. This is the rudimentary chart from Motzei Shabbos. If this is Yom Kippur, Tes Tishrei, I have to sequester him on Gimel Tishrei. I don't care what day of the week 1, 2, 3, 4 falls out. Vav Tishrei, I can't make cheshbainas now. He has to go into sequence, to right over here. So I don't care that Wednesday or the fourth day is the middle of the week. It's a Tuesday. If the fourth day, I can't make a cheshbon. However, by a para aduma, I can make the cheshbon. I can make sure that the fourth day of the sequestration falls out on a Shabbos. I put him in on a Wednesday. I make sure that day number 1 is on a Wednesday, and 1, 2, 3, 4 falls out on a Shabbos. So I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Shabbos, anyways, I don't give him a hazah, and it's the 4th day. I don't need hazah. So maybe I don't ruin 2 days, so to speak. Anyway, I have to set him aside on Gimel Tishrei. Whenever that falls out in the calendar, that's it. I can't change the calendar. A kohen who's doing the avodah paraduma, the b'didat talyan milsa, I can decide when I put him in. I don't have to burn the paraduma today. I have plenty of ashes. We found the beautiful paraduma. Let's do it again. There's only 9 times in history. So you do it tomorrow. What's the big deal? So I make sure that over here, these reds are 7 boxes of being sequestered. So I make sure that this first day falls out on a Wednesday. And Memela, the 4th day into it is a Shabbos. And I what? To give him more tara. Because the whole thing mala asu. We did a maila. That's what we said before. The whole reason why we're doing 7 is for the maila. For the show that we're doing more tahara. So let's show we're so makbid on this tahara. You're asking me a question, why do you touch him with a mouse? I'm showing you that not only that, I'm moving the whole thing around, I'm changing everybody's schedule just so there should be a lot of hazah. We're very makbid on tahara. You're saying another thing. Okay. Lelishkas parhedrin. So, this lishka right over here, Amud Aleph right over here, looks something like this. This beautiful indentation. This is what it says. We had a picture the other day, what it looks like inside. Great. Says Gemara, Tanya Rabbi Yehuda. By the way, tomorrow we have a shtickle. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda. V'chi lishkas parhedrin oisa. Parhedrin, says Rashi, is the lashon of an appointee. Somebody that the king appoints. He's not a special guy, but for whatever reason, he decides you are in charge of the weights and balances. Things that the tzibur needs. And there was something that typically lasted for a year. You take this guy for a year, that guy for a year. As the Gemara of Eloi Lishkas Balvati Alisa. Balvati is a lashon of aristocrat. I saw it in the Mark School. For that you need our school. In other words, somebody that really has money, he's a chashuv guy. So why are you calling it parhedrin that only lasts for a year when it's something that lasts for a long time? It's balvati. In the beginning, the koyanim g'dolim were really chashuv. They were really chashuv, so they were aristocrats. The famous Gemara that eventually they went down in Madrega, and people used to buy their way in. They would pay the king money, and they would become a kohen gadol. Umachlifin oisa kol shnei masa chodesh. What does this word mean, oisa? Umachlifim oisam. He himself, the kohen gadol himself, right? Umachlifim oisam. What's oisa? He's a woman. Says Rashi, umachlifin oisa. It's talking about the lishkas parhedrin. Every kohen gadol that walked in, he would change over the room to make it his own. He would make it nicer, do a renovation in it to make it his own. Every single kohen. Whatever, yeah, the what do you call it? Not a golf course. the simulator, golf simulator, because you can't do a golf. Yeah. Just like these appointee guys, this right over here is a tremendous yesod in life, I think. So we're going to learn. We can talk about it today. There were 300 kohanim that paid their way to become a kohen gadol. In other words, most of them didn't even last the Yom Kippur. They paid their way in, died, and the next guy comes along. It's human nature. It's unbelievable that people say, every person, Pliny died when he was 40 years old. This guy died from COVID. This guy died from this. But everybody says to themselves, I'm not from the death club. I'm not part of it. Death is over there. They die, not me. 300 people said this. What? After 285 people, don't you have that you're going to die this year? No, not me. I'm not part of it. I'm going to live. 300 in a row. And not only that, he's doing renovations, but I think it's a yesod in life. Like, we work, first of all, it has to do with COVID, 100%. But we work like Michigan. We're working because we're not going to die. We're going to live forever. That's what it is. If people just chap for a second, look at these guys, these shaitan. If you chap for a second, we're all going to die. The shayla is when? Not so very far away from now. Then we would act a little different. It's a big yesod. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I guess, instilled it in us. We don't have a breira. We all think we're going to be better than the next guy. We're not going to die. All right? Zok the Gemara, not awesome. Hanach toimim. We're starting a sugya. We'll probably have to go over it a little bit tomorrow, but it's kedai to go over it now. Not awesome. Hanach toimim loichivu oisam chachamim laharfrish elo trumas meiser v'chala. This is beautiful stuff. It's kedai to go over this over and over so we get it in our head. We spoke about tumah the other day, and now we're talking about the second favorite thing that everybody knows, and that is trumas and meisers. So a typical person that owns produce, he grows it himself, and he's chayiv 100% to be mavish trumas and meisers. He gives truma g'dayla to the kohen. He has to give approximately 2%. It could be less, it could be more. The Beinin, he gives 2%. Now he's left with 98%. So he takes 10% of the 98%, 9.8%, let's say, and he gives it to the Levi. That's called Meiser Rishon. Gives 10% Meiser, 10% to the Levi. Then the Levi goes and gives, we'll skip over here to the purple. The Levi gives from his 10%, he gives 10% of what he got to the Kohen. So that's another approximately a percent. Let's call it a percent. So the Kohen ends up with 3%, approximately. And then he gives 10% to himself. Everybody gives 10% to themselves. And if he can't carry it to Yerushalayim, he has to eat it in Yerushalayim. And if he can't, he transfers it to money, brings the money to Yerushalayim, buys anything he wants in Yerushalayim, all the food that he wants, 10% for himself. Great. What happens if you buy from introducing Am Hore'etz? The new guys, what is going on here? Am Hore'etz! This guy, suffer if he gives Trumas or Meisers or not. So you have to start giving Trumas or Meisers. But if you are a baker, as we'll see, even a regular guy has certain things that he doesn't have to do. Truma G'dayla you don't have to do. Why? Because even an Am Hore'etz gives Truma G'dayla. He gives the 2%. He's scared of dying. Biad Shomayim. So he gives 2%. It's not that much money. He gives it. What about Meiser Rishon? So Meiser Rishon, you have to separate. You own the thing, but you don't have to give it to the Levi. You don't have to give it. Meiser Sheni is a problem. Meiser Sheni you have to give. However, a Nachtoim, a baker, you don't have to give Meiser Sheni. A special halacha, he doesn't have to separate Meiser Sheni when he buys from an Am Hore'etz, when it's Demai. In other words, so first of all, we have to know the lashon. If you don't do any of this, the food is called tevel. If you bought from an Am Hore'etz, so it's Demai. I don't know. Domai. I don't know. Did the Am Hore'etz, was he mafresh or was he Meiser not? By the way, I forgot to press print, but Yitzchak Churi, the one that had a baby after 21 years, his brother, everybody's asking, had a baby boy Erev Shabbos. after Reb Chaim Kanievsky told him to be makbid on trumas and maisros. Trumas and maisros. So, all they have to do is separate the 10% from that goes usually to the Levi, but separate it. You don't have to give it to the Levi. You're actually allowed to eat the trumas meiser. Yisrael could eat it. It's not what? Yeah, sorry, the meiser rishon. This guy, meiser rishon. So he's the meiser, but the trumas meiser that goes to the kohen from the meiser rishon, the purple part that belongs to the kohen that you have to give to the kohen. This red, the 10%, you don't have to. But within the red, there's a little bit that belongs to the kohen. That part, give to the kohen. Why? So we're going to see that these Parhedron guys that came in charge, they always wanted, what? Yeah, but you eat this. At the end of the day, you're eating this. Except the part that goes to the kohen. Yeah. Usually you give it to the Levi, he takes care of the kohen. Right. But since you're keeping the red for yourself, within it is a little kohen, so give a little bit to the kohen. Now, the reason is because the Parhedron used to punish or impose different rules and make the pricing. They would control the pricing of the bread, of the bakers. So they suffered enough, say Chacham, they don't have to give another 10% when they buy from Am Hore'etz. So keep the Meiser Sheni to yourself. Don't be matriach to bring it up to Yerushalayim. So we'll stop over here. Maybe we'll go over it real quickly tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. פנחס סליחה, למדתי ברגע. זה אני גזר על שזה זה לחבר. Huh?
should mention also that's the way we do it in the smashes today. So they're learning the smashes, we put aside and throw away.
But that's another shayla. How come today we only do on a matbeya?
What?
We only do matbeya.
That's Master Shani. Truma today, you put aside and throw away because you're not allowed to eat it.
Truma Gdoila and Trumas Meiser.
That's what we put aside. That's the way we do it.
Yeah. But we're not doing the 1% to do. We do on that's what I'm saying. You're mevatel on a matbeya, no? So what do? We don't take a whole thing. You take 10%. You take 3%. You take 3%. You take 3% because you can do a mashu. You can do mashu. Yeah.
See, this person used to listen to you at night. He was lifted exactly a year ago.
Oh, the COVID. He's lifted from COVID.
Because of him,
Yeah.
I made my decision to come.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Because I wanted to learn with you. I wanted to be here. And even though it was COVID, when he was lifted, this was my brother.
You knew him well?
He was like a brother to me when I was
Really?
15 years ago. I was broke, non-broke, and I wanted to come see my children, and he gave me the money to come.
So what are you telling to me about pay? You have to write it in an email so I can say it's Baravim. So now I know what it is. With the unbelievable, and say that you moved to Israel because of this. These guys in America, they don't. What just happened to me?
I'm waiting.
Oh, here it's connecting.
I said, I wish I was there with you to see Rabbi Eli in person.
Really?
Yeah.
Write that also.
Send me an email. That's how
Write that.
Today. Yesterday.